So this video is going to show you guys how to create drawing 3-0, and you are going to have to follow along with this video and complete the drawing as I'm going through this. So it is going to be in metric. Everything that we do is going to be a little bit different, so just make sure that you are paying attention to everything. Even when we're starting off, we're going to open up a different file type. So I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to select Standard Millimeter IPT, and it's going to look the same. Nothing's going to look different yet. What we're going to do is go ahead and make sure that you guys save this as 3-0, and then you can go ahead and select Start 2D Sketch. Click on the XY plane, so this is the same as what we've been doing, and we're going to either click the two-point rectangle right here, or I can just right-click and select two-point rectangle right here. And then I'm going to select the origin, and this first distance is going to be 75 millimeters, and the next one I'm just going to hit Tab and type in 15. Hit enter. I'm going to make sure that this is set to zoom all, and since it is, I can just go ahead and hit this magnifying glass. It's going to zoom all for my rectangle. Hit finish sketch, and then I'm going to zoom out, and you can see when I did that it kind of turned it. If it does that, you can just kind of mess with and angle this so your home is now set like this. So once we have this selected, we can hit extrude, and you know it's automatically going to extrude this, and we want to extrude this distance 50 millimeters. So I'm going to hit OK. So nothing's really different yet except for the file type that we use, and the numbers that we're typing in are a lot larger. What we're going to do now is we're going to make a cylinder base that's going to actually go from the bottom, and it's going to go up 40 millimeters. So what we need to do is we're going to rotate so we can see the bottom. I'm going to start the 2D sketch and click this bottom part right here. I'm going to have now a circle that goes from this end to this end. So what I need to do is just right click and do center point circle, and I'm going to select the center of the rectangle as my center point. So you can see when I'm moving it, it's turning from a yellow dot to a green dot when I hit the center. I'm going to have a circle that has a diameter the same length of this rectangle. So go ahead and go from the center point to this edge. So my diameter should go from this edge of the rectangle down to this bottom edge. I'm going to hit finish sketch, and I can go ahead and I'm going to have to kind of mess around and rotate so I can see my part a little bit better. Then I want to go ahead and extrude. And I'm going to select the circle because that's what I want to extrude. I'm going to end up extruding it 40 millimeters. So I'm going to type in 40. And I want to change the direction. Instead of having this go down, I want this to go up. So I'm going to change the direction to direction 2, or as you guys hopefully know by now, I can change the direction here as well. So I'm going to change the direction to direction 2. And then you can see right now it's cutting it, which is because it's trying to go through a part. Instead of cutting, we want it to join. So we can select join here, or we can select join here. Either way, that's going to work. Hit OK, and we now have two shapes that are now solid, and they're joined together. I'm now going to add a hole right here, so I'm going to go ahead and select this top. I can right click and do center point circle. I'm going to hover on the edge of where this circle or the cylinder is, and then I'm going to be able to find where my origin, where the center point is for that circle. I'm going to make this with a diameter of 30, and then hit finish sketch. So I know that this shares the same center point as the circle right here. I'm going to go ahead and extrude, and it automatically knows what I want to extrude. I'm going to change this to cut, and I'm going to change the extent, the distance, to all. I could also change that right here to through all too. I want that to go all the way through both of the objects. So I hit the check mark, and now I'm going to have a hole that goes through the entire shape. So I'm going to go and rotate this back so you guys can see how this looks. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to learn the actual hole feature now. So this is how to create a sketch and then to make a cut. But now we're going to learn what it means to actually do a hole. So I'm going to select hole, and to make sure that the placement is set to linear, this face should automatically be selected. If it's not kind of a bluish tint, go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to pick a point. Doesn't really matter where. I'm going to add that hole right there. So what I'm going to do now is give this hole a diameter. So I'm going to make it 20 millimeters. So you can see that it's making that diameter a little bit larger. What I now need to do, there's reference 1 and reference 2. I'm going to click on reference 1, and I'm going to click this edge, and that's going to allow me to now have the diameter, or sorry, not the diameter, the dimension from the center point to the face right here. and I'm going to go ahead and make that 25. And then I'm going to select this edge. It's going to automatically go to my second reference point, and I want to go ahead and make that 25 as well. So once you have that done, you can hit apply, and then you now see that it's actually applied that, and we now have that hole. So now that you know two ways to make a hole, you can use either one. To me, using the actual hole extrusion, so right here, that's the best thing. So if you wanted to edit that, so maybe we want to change that, let's go ahead and we can just double click on that. Let's change this reference, and so you see I click on that and it changes this. Let's make this 30. So now I'm going to hit OK, and it's good, it's changed. So you can see how easy that is to change. So last thing we're going to do is create another, or start another 2D sketch, and so I'm going to click this face right here. And I'm going to use a rectangle, so I'm going to go ahead and create a rectangle from here to here. It doesn't really matter where. Then we're going to add dimensions. So I'm going to dimension this space, and we're going to make this 15. And then I'm going to dimension this space, and I'm going to make that 20. I'm going to go and hit Finish Sketch, and I want to extrude this, but instead of making it another solid part, I want to cut. But I don't want this to go all the way through. I want it actually to, and we're going to change this right now. Instead of it being a distance, we want to say to next. So we can either hit to next here, or I can change it right up here and say to next. And you can see now it's going to that next feature. I hit OK, and that's how we create this shape right here. So once we have this drawing completely done, make sure you save it again as 3-0, and then we're going to go to the application menu, go to new, and we're going to scroll down until we see the ANSI millimeter IDW file and hit create. So I went ahead and changed the sheet size to size A. I got rid of the large title block and added the ANSI A title block. So now what I need to do is I can place the view. So I'm going to go to base, and I can move this box, and it's already got the drawing 3-0 selected. I'm going to leave this scale as 1 to 1, so I'm going to go ahead and click here in place, pull up, I'm going to go over and diagonally and go ahead and hit create. I'm going to automatically go ahead and change the isometric, so let's make this 3/8, or sorry, we'll do this as 3/4, and then we need to make it so it's shaded. Hit OK. What we're going to do now is add some center lines, so I'm just going to go through this very quickly. So I'm going to be adding center lines here and here. So hopefully you saw I use this for both of these. Make sure you do extend those. The bisector, I'm going to select this here, here, same thing here, and here. So you may think that we might have to learn how to use a new type of center line in order to get the center line that would go right here for the center of this arc. But if we look at this, and I've messed around with this for quite a while to see if maybe it would work with this, this new version of Inventor. But if you read this, it says that this places a center line at the midpoint for lines and center point. So if I wanted to try to get one here, I would think that you would select this and this. But when you do that, what it ends up doing is it does a center point not for where this would go, but it does a center point between the lengths of these lines. So we're just going to leave this without a center line for right now. The good thing is that we were able to put a center line right here. Otherwise, when you're doing dimensions, everything's going to be the same. So if I do retrieve dimensions, select it. You guys definitely know how to do this by now. Select all of them. You can still arrange. Nothing else is going to change with this. So you should be good. It's going to be okay if your dimensions do end up being on their sides. So I'll show you guys what I mean in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and arrange these like this right here. That's okay if they're like this for the metric dimensions. That's not an issue at all. So I'm not going to go through with which dimensions you need to add. So it may not even be all the ones that are on the screen. So at this point, you need to figure out which dimensions you need. Make sure you at least include the width, height, and the depth for the overall dimensions for those drawings. And make sure you include diameter dimension, radius dimension, and any other dimensions that you need. So there's going to be more than just the ones I just mentioned. Make sure you don't forget to include the text, The title of the drawing is going to be locator, so make sure you include the text in all caps here. Unicode High School, the scale, the school, and your name right down here. Otherwise, you guys should be good to go. If you've got questions, you can always come and talk.